Page 52, Toreador Song. This is from the opera Carmen. 3 flats, we're still in E flat major. So make sure you're doing the scales for E flat and C minor. Common time or 4/4 time. This is really for orchestra, but it's got some nice things going on. I want to make a few little suggestions here because there's a couple spots in here where it just does not work. For instance, in the right hand, the melody's top note. If you can, bring it out. 2 and then a 3. 4. So I can't connect the bottom note too much, but it's the top note I'm after anyway. 2 here. That 3-4. This is second line, second measure. 1, 2, 3. That happens very quickly because this is like a march. Left, right, left, right. So you got to very quickly, and it's on a black key. That's even makes it harder because you don't have a lot of key to work with. It's easy to slip off. I suggest, I mean this is an arrangement, to make this a little more playable, is you simply leave out the E flat. So it's on the next measure. So it's here. And then you do 2, 3 here. So it's again, it's 1, 2, 3. Leave off the E flat, and then 2, 3. And we'll catch the other E flats. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play that E flat in the other hand. So we still get an E flat, just not that one. And anywhere else in here you get that same thing. I'd finger it the same way. Going on, third line, you're here. 2, 1, 3. And that fingering is good. I like that. And then the triplets. This is the third line down, last measure. It's 1 and 2. It's on the and of 1. 1 and 2. There. Just right there. Just real quick. 1 and. Triplets again. That's it. I do a 2-5. This is the last line on page 52, second measure. 1, 4 and then 2, 5, and then here you have a rest in there. You got time. And then 1 and 1, and this is just an E flat major scale going up from here to here. Couple octaves, and you're not starting and ending on an E flat, but you don't need to. You can start and end on any note, but it's still an E flat major scale going up. It's just here. Here. So just, if you're doing the scale, this will come. If you're not doing the scales, you will probably never get that even and smooth. Just good luck with it. So it's, and here. You're doing the same thing you did on page 52 except an octave higher. And again, second line, last measure, I leave out the first E flat. And then 2, 3. And then we're back to our triplets again. Let's go down to the bottom on page 53. Starting with the last measure, the next to the last line. You're here, and then here, watch the fingering, 2, 1, and then 3, 2, and I recommend a 4 here. So we're using different fingers on these fast repeated notes. It's a little easier than using the same thing. When you use the same finger, it promotes tension. If you use different fingers, you can stay relaxed. And same thing in the last line. It's 2, 3, 2, and then 4, 5. That's an A natural there. And now I can do their fingering, and I want a 3 here, so I got a B flat coming up. Here, and then, I like that fingering. Left hand, make sure you get rests in here, because don't connect these till the end of the line. On first line, the quarter notes you can connect. So those you can connect. Second line, second measure here. Scrunch up a little, put fifth finger and then second finger or third finger, either one on the C. I recommend, now this is where we're going to play the E flat. This is second line, last measure. Here is C, but I want to add an E flat to it because I'm not playing it in the other hand. So I'm going to play the C with third finger and add the E flat here. The music shows an E flat here. Doesn't matter where it is really, it's an E flat, play it somewhere. So I'm going to go here. So it's, so again, the last two measures of the second line there on page 52. You're here, 3, 2, 3, and 3, and going on, fourth finger, and you can use 2, 1 if you want. You don't have to use the, or if you, see the problem is, it's hard to go from the second line to the third line because of the fingering and get fifth finger on it. There's a couple possibilities of fingering here and you'll have to decide what works for you. It depends on how big your hands are or whatever. Starting with the last measure of the second line, I'm here. If I use 5 here, I can use 4 for the next line, but I need second finger on that B flat because I need thumb on the A. This sets me up for what's coming. So you can do, at the beginning of the third line, you can do a 4 and then a finger substitute because it's a quarter note, you got time. It's not like it's an eighth note where they wanted you to do it, it's here. Here, now you can. I use fourth finger, by the way, in the second measure on the B natural because that's the chord and that's the fingering, so that's what I use. And then last line here, and then it triplets. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and, it's on the end of 3, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Page 53 is this similar, it's the same type of stuff. You'll have to decide how you're going to do that. Put the heads together, and when you first start putting the heads together, don't be hesitating or nothing, just try it out, just here. But lift, I want to hear the rest, but I'm going to connect the right hand. Second line, first measure, I missed it in the left hand. 3, just put the thumb on it. Connect it with the hands, so it's that's a whole note. I'm going to hold that down the whole measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But this is just an eighth note. Hold that down. So go ahead and try and get the hands to work together. Then go back and get rid of the hesitations. So the speed is, it's a march. You're going to march to it. It's got to be a steady march. Well, it's like a march anyway. Eventually, you can go slow, but it needs to be a steady speed. So take it slow. And find the hardest part in the piece and how fast can you do that. Or maybe it's the triplets that are hard for you. It's the third line, last measure. So however fast you can play that accurately, that's how fast you can take it. For now, you can speed it up later. Then we add in the articulation. Well, connect this right hand as best you can and make sure you put in the rest in the left hand. See, at the end of the first line, I'm going to connect that, but I'm going to lift up the right hand. Now here I'm lifting up both hands. Now we want all this connected, and I know it's pedal, but I want to connect it as much as I can with the hands. I don't want to have to rely on the pedal. So that third line would try and connect it. And I still connect the left hand there. Staccatos. That's light wrist staccato. Now these are just eighth note, eighth rest. And on this run, I suggest you put in the natural accents. It'll help it. 1, 2, 3. Feel that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Try that. It's like I explain in the scale videos on the dropping the wrist and the accents here, except these are not big accents. You just feel these. Get down to the bottom, the last two lines on page 53, where you're here. Try and connect all this as best you can. Hold that down, you got all this mess down into here. And at the end, you can separate these slightly. They're accented. Accented notes like that, you can't separate. It's part of interpreting the music. Some people do, some people don't. But play them nice and loud, because you in this very loud. Well, you don't need accents on a very loud. You're already very loud. But you can separate them slightly, even though the pedal's going to cover it up. You still do the technique for it. So separate them. Like that, so. Dynamic wise, make sure these dotted rhythms are short. Don't turn them into triplets. No, they have to be short and crisp. So forth. Second line, you come down a little bit in second measure. You're still loud, but just sort of loud. And then you're going to crescendo in the third line back up to loud. And you're not quite loud there. Actually, you can be loud there if you want to. But the left hand is being under that the whole time. So now the left hand can get a little loud. It can crescendo there, because you can't crescendo in the right hand. You played your note, you're done. So crescendo in the left hand, and then loud till you now come back down. You have to think, go up to here all the way. So each one gets do it a beat at a time. You're here, louder, louder, and we're very loud. The left hand is only about moderately loud. See, it's easy to drown out the right hand when you're up here. So you got to tone that left hand back. Now here you're not crescendoing like you did before. You just stay moderately loud. Down to about a moderately soft, and start going back up. You're up to about a moderately loud here. Now, what you can do, because of the way the music is written here, This is at the bottom of page 53, the last line, the last two lines. And start with the last measure of that line, the next to the here. Because of these, and then it's like shifting gears in a car or a motorcycle or something, where you'll have louder, and then come back down, and go back, and louder there. Rather than just one solid crescendo through it, you're going up a little bit, and then you're going out a little bit. The music allows you to do this in this case. So it's here. And we want to hear the right hand here. Here, a lot of weight on that, not here. And you're ending it very loud too. Just loud in the left hand though. It's very loud in the right. Keep the left hand in the background. The only time it comes out a little bit is when it has these little figures. That kind of thing, you can come out a little bit there. And the march, left, right, about where I was doing it, I think. Yeah. That's about right. But it has to be accurate and no hesitations anywhere. So if you have to go slow, that's fine. Good enough. It's better to go slow and be accurate than to try and take it up to speed and mess it all up. Now we've added pedal. The idea with the pedal is it's going to help connect things. It's going to provide overtones. It's going to provide contrast. We like contrast in music, I hope. So don't pedal it anywhere it doesn't tell you to. But you go ahead and pedal in those few sections where here. Just pedal it like they're showing. You're changing it on about every beat on some of those. That's fine. And it's overlapping. So the pedal lags behind the hands. Now, I don't see any reason really to pedal on the second line, first measure here. You can if you want. It adds some color to it, but we're ending a phrase. We're kind of coming down. And we don't need to connect it to the next measure. It's a new phrase, so I don't see any point in pedaling that a little bit. But in the third line down, you can pedal all that. And then lift it up right after you play the whole note. We don't want to smear the right hand. So forth, and it's the same thing on page 53. You're just pedaling a couple of measures in there until the end, the last couple lines here. And I suggest you pedal it with these motifs here. I want to hear the rest there. This is the fourth line down, last measure on page 53 here. I want to hear that rest. So I'm not going to pedal it until the second beat. And in the last line, I'm going to lift up between the first and second beats. I want to hear the phrase. So again. And then and they're lifting up for the quarter, this last two measures. They're lifting up on the 16th. So there's silence between them. That's fine. It's a nice effect. I don't know that I like pedaling the last measure. You have to experiment with the sound. Ultimately, the judge for the pedaling is you and what sound you like, because you could pedal each of those quarter notes in that last measure at the bottom of page 53. Just pedal with them, not after them, but with them. And that puts in the separation between them, or you can pedal like there. I think that's a bit much, although you're very loud here, so maybe it is. Because there is a retardando where you slow down a little bit